Hey Marlon, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. So tell us more about who you are and your expertise.
Okay, well, for starters, I'm Marlon. um, Born and raised in South Carolina. Some may say I have a little country bone in me, but I am in the real estate field. I've been operating in it for almost 2 years now, or 2 years of expertise. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much who I am.
Yeah, how did you get into the business? You've been in it for 2 years. So how did you even start?
Mm, mm. Well, first, um, I started. I would say at about March of 2019. I was still working at DMV and everything like that. And God put it on my heart. He gave me that vision of doing real estate prior to, but it was just a whole bunch of procrastination. Like, how do I start? When do I start? What am I supposed to do? I've never seen anybody do anything like this. So it was new. But one day I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to do some research, find some different schools, figure out what the heck do I have to do to even get licensed.
Yeah.
And so I signed up for this school called Real Estate School for Success. And I started taking the courses there for, I'd say, about 2 months.
Mhm.
And after that, passed the class exam, then worked my way towards, the state licensure and the national part, which was not easy at all. This was not easy at all.
Yeah. So how was that? You said it was not easy. So tell us like the day to day, just the highs and lows.
Before I got licensed or now?
Before you got licensed.
Okay. So my day to day was pretty much wake up stressed, go to bed stressed. That test, it wasn't necessarily, like difficult, like
Mhm.
just impossible to pass or whatnot, but it was just the way that they would word the questions. So it kind of challenged your mind a little bit.
Mhm.
And with me being in the mindset that I was, 2 years ago, things get tough. I'm just out the door. I'm like, well, okay, well, I'm done with this. I'm moving on. But it really challenged me to persevere and actually,
Mhm.
gain the courage to keep going and keep pushing. So my day to day looked a lot of, self self hyping, a lot of praying, watching a lot of Crazy Faith with the series with Pastor Michael Todd. It took
Mhm.
a lot of faith, and a whole bunch of patience.
Oh, I can imagine. And so I know you spoke about what prompted you to become a licensed realtor, but can you just dive deeper into what prompted you to just even do your research, take the class, and then just continue to pass it? And now you're 2 years deep, So what really prompted you to just do it, go for it?
Sure, sure. So I remember, I want to say towards the end of 2018,
Hmm.
minding my business, doing my own thing and whatnot. I'm just laying in the bed and I'm watching TV. I'm watching TV,
Yeah.
and the Lord was like, "You're gonna do real estate," and it was strange because even and then I was in like my beginning stages of faith.
Yeah.
Um, but it was just something about like knowing, like I just knew that was God. Like, I'm doing real estate. Um,
Mhm.
I doubted it for a long time. I let fear talk me out of it for a long time. But
Mhm.
just knowing that God was right behind me and right beside me the entire time, willing to hold my hand and show me what to do during that time and give me the wisdom. 'Cause I would have never even thought to do my research and look up different schools like that. I just would have thought like, okay, maybe this is something I'll do in like my 30s or my 40s or whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, you're gonna sign up, you're gonna do this stuff at 19. So I started doing my research. I looked up different schools. I started reaching out to different people. Believe it or not, some people tried to talk me out of it. Like, no, you may not want to do this. Just stick with college. Um, I even had family like, don't even tell nobody you're gonna do that. So it was so that kind of helped in prolonging the journey.
Oh,
But just having God right beside me and knowing that whatever decision I did make, he was going to be right there. He was going to support me. He was going to walk me through it because he called me to it. That helped a lot. So I signed up for a class, as I stated before, and I took the classes. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I
mm,
was one of the not kids, but three students in there that knew the book from front to back. Like I knew it all. And
right.
not to boast, but it's just that I just knew, like, okay, God, I know this is what you're calling me to do. I know this is what you want me to do.
Mhm.
Flash forward, we get to PSI, getting ready to take the test and whatnot. I'm confident. I'm in there, like, you know what, Marlo, you about to go, you about to do your thing. We about to pass this test. We about to go. We about to get this license. We about to thrive. And boom, I failed by a long shot. I failed that exam, and I'm like, I failed. How did I fail? I don't fail. I do that book front and back. Um, but nevertheless, studied some more, went back, took the test again, failed again, got upset, went back, took the test again, failed again.
Oh,
Um, I failed it 3 times. It took me my fourth time trying it, but I knew that that was all intentional because it just didn't make sense. Like, how do I know all of this stuff and I'm still failing? But
mm,
then I go back to think of where my mindset was during that time. It definitely wasn't Christian based. It definitely wasn't anchored in Jesus. I was ready to just go out here and get this money and live, and be out in the
right,
streets.
right.
But God really took that time to sit me down and humble me and show me, like, I'm not calling you to real estate for your own enjoyment or for you to just, live the flashy life or whatnot. I'm calling you because this is my ministry. This is something I'm operating in, with a lot of different companies, a lot of different couples and families all across South Carolina, like showing them like, hey, this is possible. And just letting this be another avenue of service, of my way to serve his people.
That's so good. That kind of reminded me of Pastor Travis when he spoke about certain things. They might be right, but in the wrong timing, they're wrong. And that was like encouraging to me. Just like timing is everything.
Timing is everything, and it's all about the posture of your heart and your motives during that time. Because God sees your heart. He knows. He knows your motives. He knows
Yeah.
what you're ready for, what you're capable for, and it's not that he's prolonging it to punish any of us. It's just that he's trying to protect us. Because during that time, think about it. Me, 19 years old, out here doing all of this stuff, I probably would have been trying a whole bunch of other things and been somewhere I had no business being. But
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for it that it didn't happen when I wanted it to happen.
hmm So that's good. And that also like deals with being an entrepreneur. So how is your vision of becoming an entrepreneur and just really kind of navigating that sphere as well? Because honestly, it's all on you. You have to wake up early, get it done. If you don't follow him on social media, like you need to follow him on social media because he goes throughout like the entire each home that he sells, he shows you every single detail. So like how do you balance that entrepreneurship?
Well, first and foremost, I had to eliminate all the myths that I believed about entrepreneurship. Like, it was just all, you know what? I ain't got to clock in under nobody clock. I ain't got to work for nobody. I ain't got to answer to nobody.
Mhm.
I'm gonna just do what I want to do. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna go to the gym whenever I want. I'm just thinking, because that's all I saw. Because as if you notice on social media, that's what a lot of entrepreneurs display. They display, the
Yeah,
Starbucks
yeah,
mug, all these inspirational quotes and whatnot. They're standing there, on vacations and and that's what I believe. That's what I
yeah.
believe. And when it actually came to that time of me becoming an entrepreneur, I was like, wait a minute, this ain't like none of what I saw. Um,
Mhm.
so really, I had to learn as an entrepreneur, it takes a lot more discipline than being an employee. It takes a lot more discipline because what I've learned, especially in my field, if you don't work, you don't eat. If you're not out here in these streets, working, who's gonna give you a paycheck? You don't have that boss, sitting over your head saying, "Hey, you need to clock in. You need to do this work and depend on a steady paycheck every 2 weeks."
Yeah.
However often you want to get paid, it's how often you gonna work. So that's what I had to learn. But it's necessarily the vision of being an entrepreneur. Um, it was different for me because I kind of just went with the flow, and I'm kind of still doing that. I'm still learning the all the ropes of it, in the ins and outs, in the everyday life of it. And the reason why I do like post the stuff that I post is
Yeah.
just to show any other um future entrepreneurs in the making. I'm not gonna be fake. I'm not gonna gloss up this life and show you like, hey, entrepreneur is all of this, is all a piece of cake, because it's not. Like, you're gonna see my downs, not for pity, but just to show you that the rawness of it and the realness. And yeah, I just want to be as transparent as possible.
Yeah. And
Not to discourage any entrepreneurs, but definitely.
what advice would you share to those aspiring entrepreneurs?
Sure. Um, get rid of get rid of comparison games.
Mm,
You are not anybody else. You're going to be the best entrepreneur that you can be. I don't care how many followers they have. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care what they're posting. You're not them. So accept that fact. You can never be them. So focus on being the best you. And then, unfortunately, we live in a world where it's a lot of, self glory and self motives and everything like that. And
it's true.
to be honest, in the entrepreneur field, there's not a lot of Jesus centered entrepreneurs. So don't be swayed and swished, by the words and by everything for the people that live in this world, because you have to remember you're a Christian. And the
Mm,
way that we do our business is not the same that they do their business. We're led by Jesus. We're led by the Holy Spirit. So just make sure you're always led in the Holy Spirit. And it will look totally different from what they're doing. But I promise you, only what you do for Christ will last. Um, Another thing, get out of the bed in the morning. It don't matter if you ain't got nothing to do. You know,
yeah.
like, if you have to start, I don't know, write down plans that you may have.
Mm,
Do something. Get out of bed. Because what I learned, the longer that I stayed in the bed when I first started, the more, not only lazier did I get, but it also made me vulnerable to believe, like, you know what, I'm not where I should be. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I'm failing. Tell those thoughts, stay in the bed. I'm about to get up and I'm about to do what I gotta do. So definitely always be on the go. But at the same time, prioritize prioritize your health, prioritize your peace first, because nothing in this world is worth any of that. I hope that made sense. I hope it did.
it did. It blessed my life. It blessed me like right now because it's the truth. And sometimes you don't even know that you're experiencing burnout, but just like, I gotta get up. That was me yesterday. Friday, I was like, Friday's gonna be a rest day. But I slept in the bed and I was like, I need to get up. I was like, I need to get up. And once I got up, I felt so much better. But then also I'm just like, you need to rest too. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's just it's a balance, really. It's a
Mhm.
balance. But in those moments that you do have to get up, and you do have to get out in these streets, just know that you have Christ in you. So he
Yes.
supplies you with the energy and the strength that you need to go throughout the day. And anything else like that, he doesn't mind you resting. He doesn't mind that at all. So I don't want my words to get mixed up, in the way of,
Mhm.
oh, just take all these days and just rest and not, or be out in the streets 24/7. But what I'm saying is just learn the balance of it. Learn the balance of it. There's a time to work, there's a time to rest as well. So whenever you feel as if, the Lord is requiring you to rest and you're tired, you're genuinely tired, not by your definition of tired, but you're genuinely tired, then take a moment to rest. It'll
And
be there when you get back up.
and so how do you you know, balance entrepreneurship, being a realtor with just self-love? How do you balance that all?
Well, before I start any of my days, I always spend time with the Lord. That's number one. Um, I do meditation, and then after my meditations, I work out and whatnot, and then after that, I get up, I get dressed. Sometimes I'll come to the office. Most of the time, I have to meet up with clients, but I do that, but I know that I come first.
Mhm.
I love what I do, 10 out of 10, but I come first because it's so easy sometimes to get lost in what we do. And then we get our identity wrapped up in all of those things. And then, not worst case scenario, but who's to say that, God decides to flip the script a little bit and
Yeah,
it's different from it's different from what you're doing. Now you've dived and wasted all of your identity and everything that you had into that. And now when it's gone, or God, pushes you in another direction, now you don't know what to do.
that's true.
So one thing I had to learn is I'm not going to throw myself into my career. I'm not going to do that because I know that my career is temporary. I'm going to throw myself into Jesus.
Amen.
And and that's pretty much how I do it though, but just keeping him centered, not my business.
Mm. We're just gonna pause on that. That was so good. I was like, yes, yes, that's so good. Mm. And that leads, I really want to just touch on the importance of ownership. You spoke about really important to God first, not identity in our careers and our jobs. Um, but also just like importance of when God gives you ownership. Like, what is that? What is that?
Let me first say that when it comes to ownership,
Hmm.
whether it be the house, whether it be land, whatever it may be, um, it all first starts in your mind. It
Mm,
all first starts there. And something that I challenge my clients, even new clients that I come across, um, most of them are younger, and most of them are in the minority factor. And I have to challenge them, like, do you actually believe that you're capable of owning a home? Do you actually believe that you're capable of doing this? I mean, because if you don't, then what's the need of us wasting our time?
hmm. That's good.
Like, are you stuck in that mindset of, oh, well, you know what? I'm just gonna live the bare minimum. I'm gonna stay in this apartment until maybe I get kids or whatnot, and then rent something else maybe or whatnot. Do you believe that you have the ability and the power to own? It all starts with the mind. It all starts with that. Secondly, um, you believe that you can, but what are you willing to do to get to that point?
Mm,
It's not as hard as people make it seem. They
yeah.
think, oh, it's all these twists and turns. You got to have an 800 credit score. You got to have $20,000 in the bank or something like that.
Yeah.
Who said that? Who told you that? Don't psych yourself out, of that dream that you may have of owning a home. And then thirdly, you have some people whose maybe generations never owned before, never owned anything.
Hmm.
They've rented all their life. Their parents rented, the grandparents rented, or whatnot. But whatever category you're in, it all starts with the mind. And then secondly, just getting prepared to do whatever you got to do to get to where you got to get to. And just eliminating all the excuses. Ownership, I'm not saying that it's die hard important, but why wouldn't you want to? Like, why wouldn't you want to someday? Because if you think about it, all the money that you're spending in rent or whatnot, the only thing you're getting in return is a receipt.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not against renting in all different categories, because if you got to do what you got to do, you got to do what you got to do. Everybody has to start somewhere, but don't limit yourself to that. Whatever limit you may have, throw it in the trash.
Mm,
The sky ain't even the limit. When it comes to owning a home and when it comes to what Jesus has for you, there are no limits whatsoever. So it's all about getting out of that mindset. And it's important. It's definitely important. It's something that you can leave to generations after you. Once your name is on that deed, who can take it off there?
that's
Who can
good.
take it off that deed?
Who can take it?
Your
Yes.
name it's up there. It's stuck there. I'm trying to tell you. Um, and then there's many different things that you can do with it. Something I learned in my real estate class is, as long as you own a home, you'll never be broke. You'll
Mm,
never be broke. Think about it. Your home, your land, whatever, it's an investment. It's an investment. Even if that's not your forever home, who's to say you may not want to rent it out? And let that be your income.
That's good.
Or throughout the years becomes, because homes don't depreciate, I want to say every couple of years your house does appreciate by itself without you doing anything to it anyways.
Mhm.
So maybe you've done some work to it and you're ready to sell it. And let's say you bought it for like $80,000 and you're selling it for $200,000. Look at how much money you got in your pocket now. So it's all about strategizing too. I hope I'm not rambling. I
No,
hope I'm not.
that's really good. That's sound advice. Those who are even just looking to, own a home, own land, own anything, even a business. And
Hmm.
just like it's in your mind, the strategy, no limits. Like who's about to check you? You know,
Who?
who's gonna
Who
take
can? God
who-
before you, who against? That's what I'm
yeah,
trying to say. Do your thing.
that
Do
is
your
good.
thing.
And so we are into our last question is what can we expect from you in the future?
um, that's a good question. I would say, I would say whatever the Lord has in store. Because
Mhm.
to be honest, I don't even know what tomorrow holds. Um, but remember the name, remember the face, because you'll see me out here in these streets. Even with being a realtor, that's not necessarily my ultimate, final step.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to operate in real estate, but I've never wanted being a realtor to be the only thing that I've done. So I will be, investing, if it's in the Lord's will, as it's in my will, hopefully, to get my builder's license, to build homes and just operate any other field of real estate that I can. But that's in the future.
That's
That's in the
good.
future.
And where can people follow you? You spoke about social media or just connect with you if they have any questions.
Yeah, yeah. I'm always, anytime, any questions you may have, any concerns, I'm not too big to answer. I promise I'm not. DM me, text me, call me, whatever. Don't call late at night though, because I go to bed at 9 o'clock.
Right.
Instagram, it's Marlon_Stukes. That's Marlon_Stukes. Facebook, it's Marlon J Stukes.
Mhm.
That's pretty much the social media that I use. Yeah.
That's good. Okay. And the interview is done. Thank you so much, Marlon.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed it.